Welcome. I'm Danielle Sally.
And I'm Eva Fusa.
And you're listening to Ghost Boss, stories about the freelance afterlife. Hey, ghosties.
Hey.
How are you, Eva?
I'm all right.
All right.
Well, it took a lot to get us up and running.
And we're here again.
We're doing great. We're doing great.
Yes.
I was just going to say, I'm going to try not to say as much. And then I just
No,
myself.
You already messed yourself. Look, we are 22 seconds in and you've yourself.
God, I want to buy myself a shock collar.
Well, we would just sit here with you sizzling all day. Sorry.
I so much.
It's okay.
Y'all, I've started editing episodes now. So season 2 is being edited by me, which is, it's fun. I actually really like it. It's cool. But I texted Danielle and I was like, how did you not break up with me? Both as like your podcast partner, but also just as your friend.
I love it
last year because I so much.
I love it too because you'll post stuff on Instagram and it's stuff
I can see it.
I know. And it's stuff like I know that we've had a conversation about it.
I know you can see it, but now I can see it.
I'm like, now she sees.
Maybe that's going to be my next tattoo. The like sound wave of me saying little inside bicep action.
That should be the official Ghost Boss tattoo.
God.
Just a sound wave of I should get a sound wave of, hey, ghosties.
No, your sound wave would be fascinating.
Fascinating.
I to death and it's just.
Yeah. That's okay. You'll get over it.
I don't know.
The good news is we can edit our podcast.
We can. We're doing great.
Just don't go on a podcast that doesn't get edited.
Oh my God. I so much and I take these dramatic pauses. Like that's what I've also figured out about myself. I either talk so fast.
Yeah.
Or I take these long pauses in between.
When I'm talking like this and I'm thinking, I drag everything out. I do that a lot.
I tighten up some of your
I am certain of it.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, we gonna fall asleep before she gets to the next word, but I'm just as bad about it. I'm just as bad.
Oh, it's okay.
So anyways.
Okay. So today.
Yes.
So when I asked people, what do you want to hear about? Surprisingly.
Do they not just want to hear about my coffee order and the fact that like I put lavender oil on before I go to bed?
Surprisingly, no, that did not come up in the list of topics. What did?
Really, y'all?
It's shocking. What did come up were other freelancers wanting us to really dive into more of like, well, where do you find clients? Where can I find clients?
Yeah.
How do I find more work?
Yes.
What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to go into that a good bit because I might listen to some other freelancing podcasts and like getting tips, and they're not necessarily, I feel like there's a huge chunk is missing on there. And I really kind of want to dive into that today. Yeah. But I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
Eva.
I find them all over the place.
Where?
I found a client in the parking lot at a funeral.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Please, this on our very business topic instantly took a left Ghost Boss turn.
It's accurate. I found a client in the parking lot at a funeral.
Okay, how?
So it was a funeral for a friend.
Okay,
and then afterwards, like you do, people are standing in the parking lot.
Yeah,
not quite going anywhere yet because talking about like, are people going to go somewhere afterwards?
Yeah.
What time are we going? Whatever. And I was talking to somebody that I've met in passing. I don't know him terribly well, but he said something about like, oh, you're freelancing now, right? And I was like, yeah. And so then I explained kind of like capital F freelance, capital D designer vibes. He was like, oh, I need some UX help.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he got my info and like I did some UX work.
There you go.
So yeah,
so our number one, place, not number one. I quickly rephrase. Our first place that you can find clients would be at a funeral. I am so terrified to ask you where else, Eva.
Well, the next one you'll like.
Okay.
I have not run the numbers for last year, but 2 years ago, 70% of my clients came through people I met at AAF.
So, and this one, and I know we talk about it so much, we preach it.
But it is true. 70% of my books in 2022 came from AAF. Now, and I get significantly more from that than my other board like boards that I've been involved with. And now that's done some offshoot work.
Yeah.
So like I've gotten some people that's like a couple steps removed now. I get work from referrals from existing clients. So it is a bit of a snowball, right? Like once you get rolling with somebody, I've gotten 3 clients this year off the referral of one client that's on a board that I work for.
That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing with American Advertising Federation is that it really, snowball was the perfect way to describe that because, it might start with one person and then all of AAF across the country is just this one big connected unifying voice of advertising.
Oh, there she goes, y'all. There she goes.
But the nice thing about it is like so-and-so talks to so-and-so and then like next thing you know, this person's reaching out and we're all connected. We all know each other. And I'm always like, every time I'm reading like these top 5 places to find clients, like an Instagram post.
Yeah.
I feel
what do
like
they say?
They're like, go to this website, search this, go to this. And I'm like,
I don't find clients sitting at my computer.
No, they're missing the human quality of it. Which
find them at a funeral.
There's so many things that you could attend to in person.
Yeah.
And I say all that because, I'm based in Columbia, South Carolina. I don't have that many focused in Columbia, South Carolina. AAF has still allowed me, even being a member of my local club, has still allowed me to find clients all over the country.
Yeah.
It's just, this is where I'm physically based.
Yeah.
So, but there's so much good that can come from just attending and joining these professional organizations. Yeah. And listen, networking sucks. We all know it, but like, you got to do it and find the one that works right for you. I don't like it when I am new to it.
I know. But so I also sometimes when I tell people that, I get the question is, or I'll get a question that's like, well, isn't AAF, or like if AIGA was really active here, it'd probably be a similar situation there. And they say to me, isn't it just a bunch of people like you in the room though? Isn't it just a bunch of other creatives? And it's not. And even if there are other creatives in the room, first off, I go pull your little introvert selves out of the corner. I am the resident extrovert creative. Yeah. Y'all come on. I'll make sure we're not too weird.
And that's the difference, right? Joining an AIGA, I personally wouldn't join that to find clients. I will join that to find education. I will join that to find peers. I will join that to find like knowledge.
If the chapter was active in Columbia, I would join it for the exact same reasons that I joined AAF.
But for AAF, I think you're going to have, because it's a more variety of who is joining it. And I would say the same too with an AMA and even a PRSA. Like there's more variety in there. Whereas like for us being designers, AIGA is going to be more peers and doing what we're doing, because you're not going to get a bunch of non-designers that are going to AIGA.
No, but you would get agency people there.
Oh yeah,
like sometimes people join just to find other people.
Yeah, I think
the composition also looks different depending on what city you're in, right?
Yeah,
like, we have an incredibly strong chapter in the Midlands.
Yeah,
so I don't know that that's the same for everybody in every market.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it all depends. Look at your chapters and figure out what makes sense for you. But yeah, I mean, I then become like the person that does the thing that people need done.
Yep.
So I was talking to some fellow moms over the weekend who are not designers.
Yeah.
Like one was a oncology surgeon, and she's like, when I tell people what I do, then I end up like getting their medical history, right? Or we end up like talking about specifics of what I do, and I was like. And then my other friend's an attorney. She's like, I tell people I'm an attorney, and then they start asking me about like
legal advice.
And she's like, I don't do that kind of work.
Yeah.
And I was like, I tell people I'm a designer, and I get one of two things. I either get, oh, my niece does that, and make me a T-shirt or something in that vein.
Yep. I've made a T-shirt before.
Sure.
Good.
I love
Good
that for you. Godspeed to whoever had to like turn that file into an actual vector file for production, but whatever. Yeah. That's fine. Or I get, hey, you know what? Like, actually, I need a logo for my business, or I need a website, or I don't know what I need. Right. And sometimes it doesn't even turn into like paying work.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with somebody recently and they were describing the business that they had. And I was like, you actually don't need like a full scale website for me. You need like 2 or 3 small things and let's see if the business scales. And then, then we invest more. So I sometimes get it just by telling people simply what I do.
Yeah.
I get a lot of work from AAF and other boards that either I'm
sure
on the board or like I get paid by some boards to be their marketing assistant. And so then I get some work from there. I try to design a lot of stuff in places like I'll make anybody a t-shirt, right? Because then I can go to stuff and be like, I designed that shirt and I will get work because of that. So like I do a lot of design work like that for my son's school.
Yeah.
And so then like that can splinter off. And then like a lot of the people that hire me now, us marketing, communications, creative people all seem to find each other in our 20s in bars.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, do you have that experience too? Like some of these people I was just friends with and I'm like, no, you're a whole marketing director. I've
had a lot of people lately that they have been people that I met in my 20s. Yeah. And I got involved with AF very early. So it was AF people, but like it was still kind of that vibe, and we were 20 somethings. But now they've been emailing me like, "Hey, I realize you're a freelancer now, and I'm at this agency over here, literally. And we need freelancers. Yeah. So could you maybe have a meeting with me?" And it's just funny because it's like, wow, I haven't. Like there might be a 15-year gap.
Yeah. But I think it's so funny because I think there is something about like when we were in our 20s, like we all
who knew the networking we were doing at those bars?
I was telling somebody once, I was like, everybody I've built out in the last 3 weeks, I met in a bar when I was 22 years old. And I'm not saying that your tab is a business expense, but I am saying.
All right. So we are saying from bars to funerals, too can find clients.
Hey. I'm trying to think if I've gotten any other, the funeral stories.
Well, you know what another big one is for me? It is former work colleagues.
Oh, yeah. No, I got a lot of that.
That was huge. And not ones that are still with the agency or if I wasn't at the agent, wherever I worked with, like they've moved on to other companies and they've just really wanted to work with me again, which is like the biggest honor, right? And so I feel like all of my clients right now, I think all but maybe one, we're all connected by either a former work colleague or through an organization such as AAF, mostly AAF, just because that's where I've dedicated most of my time.
Right.
One, maybe not, but it still was a work connection. So that's why you don't burn bridges when you leave.
Right. Well, not only that, like one of my biggest clients right now, I actually got referred. They went to an agency in Colombia.
Yeah.
And because they knew somebody who worked at the agency and they were like, we need an agency. And the person in the agency was like, you don't need an agency.
Yeah.
The scope of work that you need, the turnaround times that you need.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to hire a full scale advertising agency for somebody to make you one flyer a month and update your website and do some LinkedIn posts. Yeah. And like, it just doesn't make any sense. I know this freelancer.
Yeah. And that's why it's so good to be so connected with agencies because a lot of the agencies know, like, you don't need us for all that. But we already have a list of freelancers that are our preferred freelancers that we work with. And you too can work just directly with them.
And they also are going to be in a good position to help match appropriately.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And also, like, not just agency people, but I get a lot of referrals from other in-house designers.
Yeah.
Like I have a working relationship with, like I come in and work on projects with them periodically. Either because they need a second set of hands or sometimes they like to bring me in just for big projects to like put a second set of eyes on it.
Yeah.
Or I know them like through networking stuff, like us designers, we find each other in the room. I can tell who you are.
Oh yeah. We know.
I know who you are.
I felt bad one time. There was a designer and I had them pegged for an account manager.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. That's
like
we know.
You think I'm an account manager?
It wasn't you.
No. But like I would be.
Could you imagine? And nothing against account managers, but like if you're a designer and they think that's a different vibe.
No. But yeah, so I often will get calls from people that's like, hey, I'm a designer. I don't freelance.
Yeah.
Because I just don't for whatever reason. I'm in-house. I'm busy, whatever. Somebody called me because they don't know where to start.
Well, right.
Can you pick this up? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I can pick it up.
That was usually the thing. When I was at an agency, I was working so much and like I just would not take on freelance work.
Right.
And I would have people come to me like, hey, I know you do this kind of work. Will you do it? And I would tell them no, but then I would have my freelancers that I'd be like, can you do it? Because I don't want to do it.
Right. Right. And you want to send them to somebody like with good hands, right?
Exactly.
Like, and make sure they're getting the work that you need.
Exactly.
So it's like not only about like making relationships with other like designers, but also like I make relationships with other people who are creatives different than what I do. So videographers, copywriters, people who do extensive UX. I do very, very light UX, but
right.
Like, people who like actually build real websites.
Yeah.
Because they'll get random phone calls and and because people often they have no idea where to start. And so they're like, you know what? My nephew writes. I'm going to start there.
Okay.
And then the nephew calls me. He's like, what? I'm like
I can't do this. Can you do it?
So professional development groups.
Professional development groups,
funerals,
former colleagues, funerals, bars. I mean, where can't you find clients?
I mean,
a lot of people, when I look up, a lot of people are like, there's a lot of websites you can go to.
So I used to do them. I don't know if you've ever been on any of them.
And I haven't, and I feel like you can pick up a lot of projects, a lot of jobs, but are you picking, how much are you really picking up like a consistent client? So
I did this. We all know I started my company during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And there were a couple times during that 1 year where I did not have, because it was a hard time to start a business. I really didn't have my feet under me and you couldn't go out and network the way we can now. It was harder, right?
Yeah.
So I picked up some of these sites. I'm not saying not to try them out, but I am saying.
And certainly if you are at a place in your career and you are early and you are doing freelancing and you don't have all these connections yet, it's a good place to start.
I think it's a good place to build your book.
Yes.
I think so this is what you run into.
Yeah.
At least the sites that I went on, you have to bid for your projects and there's typically no like full context the way like when we bid for projects, they just go with the lowest.
Yeah.
And you're often fighting it out with other people or organizations that work for literally pennies. And so,
and you're like, I don't want to lower my price. If you lower your price, you're lowering the value.
Right.
And that's just hurting the industry as a whole.
And I mean, I took some projects, not at a crazy low rate. I took some projects because I needed some work. And I found some legit work in here. I did find some, but some of it, because they'll put caps on how many the hours they are. I mean, it's the same stuff that we experience.
Yeah.
It's way more restricted. It's interesting. The one that I worked on had some software that you had to use and it would take screenshots of your desktop every 90 seconds.
Oh, no.
To show that you were actually working the whole time.
Oh, I don't like that. But and again,
I get it because you don't have a relationship. They don't have any way to check.
And that goes into our episode from last week with like, you don't know when the creativity is going to hit.
Right.
You did like sometimes it just doesn't.
But it was the only way to track your hours was through this app. It's the only way to get paid. So you would only open it if you're actively working.
Oh.
But like, then you can't really bill for concepting time because
it's very Big Brother. I don't know about this.
I don't know.
I went to freelancing, so I didn't have someone watching over my shoulder.
Right. I tried it out, but like, honestly, this one project, and I liked them. They were very nice. And they seemed like they were legit, just like trying to find somebody with a relationship. And I get that. But like, by the time I not only spent the time, but like bought like the font because they couldn't give me the font, like there was all this stuff. I think I made $20 on a project I spent 3 hours
at the end of it, right?
Or you often will see stuff on there that's like, we want a logo for $50. And it's just, that is not, I mean, you can get a $50 logo.
Oh, for sure.
But like, it's going to be a $50 logo, right?
Yeah.
So I tried it out. I will say this. I'm also a mid-level designer and I was trying to build a whole business, right?
Yes.
I will say this. If you're just trying to build your book, they're decent sites to go on.
Yes.
And you got to do a lot of digging to find some good.
I agree with that.
To find some good projects. But yeah, it's good to build your book. I would not recommend it as like a viable source to find clients. But yeah, networking events. Get into some online communities where you chitter chatter online. And you can join that has a Slack channel. is good. People will absolutely approach me out in the community because they recognize my profile picture from Slack.
There you go.
It happens all the time.
I love it.
So yeah, and then once you do that, like I'd say about half my clients aren't in Columbia, but I end up getting referred to a lot of them from people that maybe I originally met.
Yeah, for sure.
Not always.
They might have been here to start with, but then they've gone, they might be referring you to someone else.
Right. So, and then one other kind of random, I don't know. I don't think it's totally random, but when you do design work in-house, maybe some in an agency, but certainly in-house, you end up doing some light event planning because we design everything. I'm sure you've dealt with it at the agency because we designed everything for the event. And they're like, well, now you have to go to the event and set it up.
Yeah, right.
And then when you're like on a small in-house team, they're like, actually, could you just sit at registration after you set it all up?
You're like, that's fine.
Sure. So I actually do like some event planning as part of like my book. Like,
get creative.
Yeah, it's cool. And I like it. And I'm a weird extrovert and I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah, it's fine.
So those are great.
Yeah.
If you can figure out a way to like get into some sort of event planning, working a registration desk, everybody remembers you. And it's so much more effective than just sitting next to somebody at a table and hoping that they remember that conversation. Everybody remembers who was at registration.
Yeah. And it's easier to talk at registration because if I'm at a table, I have to make small banter. Right. You know what you're going to say at a registration table.
Right. Right. But like I get either through volunteer work or getting paid to do, I get so much offshoot work from doing like light conference event planning. Yeah. And it's like it's an offshoot that isn't really specific to design. Yeah. But I get a lot of work that way. For sure. Did I touch on anything did I not touch on anything?
No, I think you covered everything because I think what I want to make sure freelancers know is you can't beat the human connection.
No. Always have a business card on you because I end up talking about this stuff at
I was
park.
so mad. I went to an event the other day and didn't have my business card. And I'm like, I usually have 20 in every single purse. And I didn't. And I was like, son of a.
I take business cards on walks with me because you never know when you just make small talk with somebody.
Yeah, always have them on you. Or stickers.
Or stickers. Stickers with a business card. I can easily tell people I'm the only Eva Fusan in the whole world so they can Google me.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just all over the place.
All over.
And it is a snowball effect, whether you found them through a group like AAF or you found them through people that you knew in college or people you met in bars or at funerals or whatever.
This is why we don't burn bridges. Don't do it. People will remember you burn that bridge and then they are going to do the opposite of refer you for another job.
Absolutely. But yeah, I get calls from people that I worked with 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's
that
wild.
I had no idea that they would even think about
and
me.
I appreciate that they do.
So also like on social media, like I have a business account, but like make sure to post about stuff like this, not only on your business account, I could be better, but on your personal account.
Yeah, you can.
Well, but people, on my personal account, I also talk a lot about freelancing. And so people don't always fully understand what that means, but they're like, I know you post about this a lot. I need a thing. Can you help with the thing? I was like, sure.
Sure can.
And we called it the thing. So we're clearly both millennials. In this conversation. So.
I love it.
So yeah, that's where I find clients.
All right, everyone. Hopefully you too can find a funeral near you. Even if you don't know the person, just see what funerals are going on.
We are ghost bosses. I have a little.
That's where we find our clients.
It's a little on brand. I would appreciate if the sass would pipe down because it is on brand. Okay?
I love it. All right. Well, thank you for listening, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Talk to you next week. Bye. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Ghost Boss Podcast. And also please like and review us on your favorite podcast app.